Morning students. In the last class we studied about some major geographical forms. Some important geographical forms are continents, oceans and seas, mountains, hills and valleys, rivers, plateaus and plains, deserts. These are the 6 major geographical forms. Then continents, oceans and seas, mountains, hills and valleys, rivers, plateaus and plains, deserts. These are the major geographical forms. That the same way some other geographical forms also, such as island, lake, isthmus, strait, peninsula and bay. These are the some other geographical forms. Then the last class we studied up to mountains, hills and valleys. We studied up to mountains, hills and valleys. Then mountains, hills, valleys and rivers. Today we are going to study plateaus and plains. The fifth point is that plateaus and plains. Then plateaus, plateau, a large stretch of highland, that is flat on top is called a plateau. What is called a plateau? A large stretch of highland that is flat on top is called a plateau. Then it is also often called a tableland. This plateau is also known as the tableland because it is the high and flat like a table. Because it is the high and flat like a table. So this is also known as the tableland. Then that is the plateau. And the next one is that plains. Plains, a stretch of low flatland or almost flatland is called a plain. Then plains are formed when rivers bring down mud and soil from the mountains. Then next important point is that low flatland along the coast is called a coastal plain. Then plains and that the same way another important point is that coastal plains. Then coastal plains, low flatland along the coast is also known as the coastal plains. Then the coastal plains are generally sandy, that is sandy areas, coastal plains also. India has two long stretch of plains along the east and west coast. Then eastern coast and western coastal plains. Then here are the soil on the plains is very good for plants. Then people can grow crops and live such places. Then another important point is that desert is a dry area and receive a little or no rainfall. That type of area is also desert. Then there are two main kinds of deserts. Deserts can be divided into two types. Then hot desert and cold desert. Two type of deserts can be divided into two. That is the hot deserts and cold deserts. Hot deserts are sandy, windy, hot and very dry. That hot desert. Hot desert are very dry and very hot area. Then the largest desert, one of the largest desert, Sahara Desert is one of the largest desert in the world. That is also situated North Africa, and it is a hot and sandy desert. Then another one is that cold desert. Cold desert, the large areas of land that always remain frozen or very cold. That type of desert is also known as the cold desert. Then example, Antarctica is a cold desert. Then this desert is also very coldest and driest continent on earth. Then these are the some major geographical forms. Okay, once again the continents, oceans and seas, mountains, hills and valleys, rivers, plateaus and plains, then deserts. Deserts can be divided into two types, hot deserts and cold desert. Hot deserts are very heat or hot and cold deserts are very cold. Then example, hot desert Sahara Desert and cold desert Antarctica is one of the cold desert. And the next important point is that some other geographical forms. And the first one is that island. Then an island is a land that is surrounded by water on all sides. That is the island. Then the first, some other geographical forms. The first one is that island. What is an island? An island is a land surrounded by water on all sides. That is the island. Then two group of islands in the Bay of Bengal, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal, and another one is that in the Arabian Sea, that is the Lakshadweep Island. This is the group of islands. Then a group of islands found together is called archipelago. Okay, once again a group of islands close together is called archipelago. Then two islands also. Then the second one is that lake. Lake is a large body of water surrounded on all sides by land. That is the lake. Then example, the Caspian Sea in Asia is one of the world's largest lake. Caspian Sea is one of the largest lake in the world. Then next one is the third one is that isthmus. Isthmus is a narrow strip of land which joins two large part of land or large land masses. That is also known as the isthmus. Then example, the continents of North America and South America are joined by an isthmus. That is called Isthmus of Panama. Then fourth one is that strait. Sometimes the narrow stretch of the sea flows between two large land areas. This stretch of water joining two large expanse of seas called a strait. Then the one strait is the Pak Strait, lies between India and the island of Sri Lanka. And fifth point is that peninsula. Then peninsula, what is a peninsula? A peninsula is a piece of land that's surrounded by the sea on the three sides. A peninsula is a land surrounded by water on three sides. Then the southern half of India has a sea on the three sides. This part is also known as, this part of India is a peninsula. Then the last point is that bay. A bay is a water surrounded by land. Okay, a bay is a water surrounded by land. Then the Bay of Bengal is an example of a bay. The Bay of Bengal is an example of a bay. Bay is a water surrounded by land, that is bay. Bay of Bengal is one of the example. These are the some other major other geographical forms: island, lake, isthmus, strait, peninsula and bay. These six are the some other geographical forms. That the same way major geographical forms are continents, oceans and seas, mountains, hills and valleys, rivers, plateaus and plains, then deserts. These are the major geographical forms. Today we can wind up the class. Thank you.